Hello there, and welcome back to the We Miss the Exit show. It has been a while since race, but finally getting around to it. It is race day tomorrow, and it's the Australian Grand Prix. Right now, we're going to do the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix review since we haven't gotten to it yet. Been busy. All right, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix was 2 weeks ago, March 19th at Jeddah. The Jeddah circuit. And yeah, good race overall. Here are the results of the race. We'll go over it real quick. Lap one, you have Sergio Perez lining up against Fernando Alonso. Alonso had a great start and takes the lead in the first lap. Got a great jump on Perez. Stroll gets around Sainz on the outside, crazy move on Piastri. Has some damage due to a small collision and has to pit. It's a long pit. And Alonso, we find out that he was in the incorrect starting location and gets a 5-second penalty to be served at a later time. Yeah, that's not going to come up again like the first race. By lap three, Norris also has to pit. He has wing damage as well. Or, yeah, he has wing damage as well. Lap four, Perez finally gets the lead back. He passes Alonso on the first turn. Great move by him. It's great to see two veterans go fighting out. It's a great battle for both of them. And then by lap six, Leclerc, who had started towards the end, middle of the pack, he's making moves. Again, he had a penalty, so Leclerc's making moves. Verstappen is making moves as well, but he seems to be struggling against the mid pack, unlike Leclerc, who's moving his way up. By lap 9, Perez and Alonso are pulling away. Perez more than Alonso, but they are both pulling away. Um, and the FIA says, or the stewards say, Hamilton is getting investigated for weaving around the track, trying to keep people behind him. Lap 12, Max Verstappen's finally on the move. He passes Lewis Hamilton to go into 8th place. Lap 13, Leclerc is into 6th place, and he is currently 4 seconds behind Sainz, making his way through the pack. Lap 14, Stroll has to pit. Sainz right behind him, and Sainz was obviously told to do whatever Stroll doesn't do. So Stroll pits, Sainz stays out, and goes on to the hards. Max Verstappen is into 6th place now. He is behind the Ferraris, um, and it will be interesting at that point. It's interesting to see if he even be able to get around them. So they don't seem too bad at this time. Lap 15, Gasly starts the continues on with the pits. He goes on to hard. Lap 16, Sainz goes in the pits. He's on hard. He comes out ninth ahead of Stroll. So the undercut or the overcut did work on this one, and Sainz out ahead of Stroll. Lap 17, Leclerc pits. He's on hard. He comes back out into 8th place. He is behind Sainz, but he is ahead of Stroll. Ocon pits and he goes on hards. Lap 18, Stroll is told that he needs to stop. His car has failure and the safety car comes out. Since Stroll's car seems like it's out of the way and he parked it very well, so it's a little confusing as to why they needed to pull out the safety car, but it comes out later that the stewards, according to the GPS data on Stroll's car, looked like he was still on the track, but he was not. They probably could have moved the car safely with a virtual safety car, but the safety car is out. And here comes the pit stops. Um, kind of screwing over Ferrari again. They came in just a little bit too early and missed out on this essentially free pit stop. So Sonoda, Albon, De Vries, Bottas, Russell, Perez, Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton, and Norris all pit. Alonso serves his 5-second penalty at this time. Lap 20, safety car ends, and with that, Perez is in first place, gets a great jump, and starts pulling away from everyone. Lap 22, Hamilton passes Sainz and moves up into 5th place. Lap 23, Perez is just pulling away, not even anyone close to him. Verstappen passes Russell and starts catching Alonso. Lap 25, Verstappen passes Alonso and moves into second place. Interesting thing before the race, Alonso did say Max Verstappen would be in second place by lap 25, and that was accurate. Lap 26, Albon has some braking issues and he pits and is done for the day. So we have two cars out so far. Lap 30, Red Bull. The Red Bulls are pulling away, not even close to anyone being near them. Again for the second race in a row. Russell surprised Alonso. Russell is surprised that Alonso had already taken his penalty. Russell's pretty angry that his team didn't tell him that. But there was a safety car. I feel like Russell should just have assumed that uh, Alonso had taken his penalty and pit. But that's just me. Of course, his team should have told him, but I would have assumed if I was racing, but I'm not. 36, lap 36, 38, you have Bottas, lap 36, Bottas pits. Lap 38, Zhou gets around Sargent, who had been holding his own pretty well through the race. Lap 40, the Red Bulls start complaining about having issues. Checo's complaining about brakes. That may come into play this coming weekend. And Verstappen's complaining about a noise in his car. We still have 10 laps, over 10 laps to go, and uh, we're I'm starting to think, oh, we're going to have both Red Bulls not finishing again. But by lap 42, De Vries moves past Sargent. Lap 46, Magnussen passes Sonoda to move up into the final points place. Lap 48, Alonso is told that he may not have served his 5-second penalty correctly. He is told that um, he's told that he may have to serve a 5-second penalty, 10-second penalty like Ocon did the week before. It has been This is lap 48 that he's told this, and he originally pit and served the penalty on lap 18. It has been 30 laps, and it took them that long to figure this out. That is nuts. And Alonso doesn't really have anything to say. Just says, okay. Lap 49, Piastri passes Norris, and then lap 50, Piastri passes Sargent. So the McLarens severely struggling. I don't think interesting. Norris I think is a great driver, but he gets passed by Piastri. Not really a fight, but Norris was having trouble catching Sargent, and Piastri gets around him. So McLaren's way off pace. I don't know if they're going to be able to turn it around this season. They did not look good in qualifying today. Um, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But anyway, here are the results. Sergio Perez. Oh, a little bit of issues here. I didn't write it down for some reason. Towards the end of the race, Sergio Perez is told his lap time should be like 26 seconds. And he asks what Verstappen has been told to do for his lap time, and they tell him Verstappen's told like 23 seconds, and Sergio Perez is like, why are you telling me to go slower than Verstappen? Which is quite concerning. If I were Perez, I'd be wondering the same thing. But Perez at that time was so far away, so far ahead of Verstappen, it wouldn't have made a difference. Verstappen would not have been able to catch him uh, at that point. So Perez shouldn't have been that worried. I think it was a big deal made out of nothing. It's just he was so far ahead, it made sense to kind of just have him slow down a little bit, take a little bit off of the engine, take a little off the tires, be a little bit more safe. Um, I don't know why they didn't tell the same to Verstappen. He was already well ahead, 15 seconds or so ahead of Alonso. Um, at the end of the race, Verstappen does get fastest lap. He put in a hell of a lap, took that point away from Perez. So we'll get to the standings in just a second. But anyway, Perez is your race winner from pole to first place. Great job for him. Verstappen 2, we have a Red Bull 1-2 for the first time in over 10 years, I think. Alonso third with an asterisk. Russell fourth. Hamilton fifth. Sainz sixth. Leclerc seventh. Ocon 8th, Gasly 9th, and Magnussen 10th. So they go out, they do the ceremony. Alonso's up there, and later on it comes out that he is going to be penalized something like 10 seconds. He's only 5 seconds ahead of Russell, and so they were talking about Russell getting third place in the trophy, but that was absolute trash. They had, like I said, 30 laps to give Alonso a penalty, give him time to serve it, and maybe push a little bit more, and keep his position. It is absolute trash that they would make any kind of changes like that. I understand the rules. I understand that touching the car is not allowed. Um, and I think this was a little bit different than Ocon's situation. This was a jack on the back of the car that was simply placed against the car. Didn't really give much of an advantage, where Ocon's penalty kind of looked like a mechanic was starting to work on the car um, with a wrench or something. So to me, this one was completely different. It was absolute garbage that they would penalize him that late into the race. Um, it happened on lap 18. They should have known by lap 20 if something was up. It's absolute garbage. Um, that they would do that kind of seemed to me like they were just trying to help out Mercedes, but um, that wouldn't surprise me either. They've been doing that for quite a while. Anyway, my predictions versus what actually happened. I got Perez right. I got Alonso right, and that was it. I got 2 out of 10 for the top 10 this year. I am currently 6 for 20 on the season. Not great, but not bad. Feeling pretty good about it. My driver of the day could have gone in a lot of different ways. Verstappen going from, boy, I don't remember, I think he was 15th to second, and catching was great. I think Alonso had a great race, even though he dropped down from second to third. He did have a great race. Quite a few good racers, but my driver of the day is Checo. Sergio Perez from pole to first place. He had a great race. There was never really, although Alonso did get a much better start. Um, there was never really any doubt by me that Perez was going to win that race without a mechanical failure. So great job by him. Like I said, let's get to the standings. Verstappen pulling out fastest lap on his final lap. A little bit of controversy because Perez did have fastest lap when Verstappen took it. I don't blame Verstappen from taking fastest lap. One, they should be pushing at all the times. It shouldn't. He should be able to take fastest lap uh, from his teammate. Two, by this time, Bottas had gone in for a pit stop and put on softs. While it didn't seem to really help him at all, there was a chance that Bottas could have taken fastest lap away. So for Max to go after and get fastest lap and secure it, I thought that was a good move on his part. And it does put him 1 point ahead of Perez in the standings. So we have Max first with 44, Perez second with 43, Alonso in third with 30, Sainz in fourth with 20, Hamilton in fifth with 20, Russell in sixth with 18, Stroll in seventh with 8, Leclerc in eighth with 6, Bottas in ninth with 4, Ocon in 10th with 4, Gasly in 11th with 4, Magnussen in 12th with 1, Albon in 13th with 1, Sonoda, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Zhou, De Vries, Piastri, and Norris all have 0 points on the season. Constructor standings. Red Bull is in first with 87. Aston Martin is in second with 38. Mercedes is tied with them with 38. Uh, Ferrari in fourth with 26. Alpine in fifth with 8. Alfa Romeo in sixth with 4. Williams has 1 in seventh place. Haas has an eighth with 1 point. AlphaTauri and McLaren have 0 points on the season. I think AlphaTauri is far more likely to score points before McLaren. McLaren looks really bad. Really surprising, um, since they've had 2 years with this engine to make it work. Um, but and I think they're just ruining their chances with Norris. He's an amazing driver, and it's too bad because Norris, I think, is a driver that, if given the right car, could be battling for a championship. Right. I'm going to do the preview for the Australian Grand Prix in just a little bit, finishing putting that show together. You find us on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, all at We Miss the Exit. Thanks for watching, and check us out in probably half an hour for our preview of the Australian Grand Prix. Have a great day.